Hey everyone, how's it going? I am still continuing with the Unity courses and self-training. It's rather difficult. Coding is a pain in my butt, and I love it just as much as I hate it. So one of the first projects I've been working on in this Unity 3D course on Udemy is a kind of basic text-based hacking game. Now this is super basic. The intention of this one is to just get an introduction into coding. So I'll run you through basically how it works. I have 3 difficulty levels: McDonald's, a library, and NASA. So you can type things in. The course creator went through the trouble of giving us some assets and some sound effects, such as when you type. You get a nice sound effect. I don't know if you can hear the ambience in the background, but there's that. You get a nice visual user interface here. So these are all things that just came preloaded. This exercise is simply just to learn the code. So if we hit level 1, we go to difficulty McDonald's. Now what is this? Seeing as I created this, I should know, but I honestly have no idea what this is. So at the top we have a little hint. It is McDonald's based. Now I can cheat and open the debug menu, and I can see right here that it says nugget. So let's assume for a second I had no idea what it was, and I type Big Mac. Not Big Mac. We'll keep capitals off because it is case sensitive. So this one looks like chicken. Oh, and it does say it's chicken right on the right hand side. Oh, congratulations, I got that right. So from here we can't really do anything, but we do prompt the player to type menu and go back to here. So you could go back to level 1. I think this one is Big Mac. Hey, we are what we eat. That is very important. Don't forget that. Go back to menu. Let's check out level 3. Now at first glance that looks like a big old cluster, yeah, but I know what that is because I made the game. Hey, look at that. We also experimented with ASCII art, so that was a nice little feature to throw in here. I kind of like the looks of that, although very basic. I'm really looking forward to what we learn in the second course, which is where we start to dabble in a 2-dimensional game with physics. So we'll go check out NASA one more time. I couldn't help but look at the right-hand side of the game. I'm such a cheater. Starfield. Hey, look at that. Let's go check out the library. I'll try not to look. But if my memory didn't fail me, I think it's quiet, because in a library you have to be quiet. So here's some more ASCII art we've been experimenting with. Go back to the library. Cool. So very simple. I threw in a little Easter egg early on. Pretty cool. Not really, super basic. But this is basically the whole function of the game. So far I have 3 levels set up, and that's about it. There are 6 different answers for each level, and you simply just get a win screen once you correctly answer them. Now I would like to go back after I'm a few courses in to making some of the other games in the Udemy course. I would like to go back to this one and really turn it into, you know, not a fully fledged game, but something a bit more significant, something that you could sit down and spend 10-15 minutes playing just for fun. Maybe add some story elements, maybe take the graphic interface here and transpose it onto something smaller like a cell phone, and then have like a scrolling background. You know, maybe different levels where you could be sitting in a park on your phone, quote unquote hacking, or you could be on a train and you'd see the background through the window of the train kind of scrolling behind you, just to add some more visual flair to it. But as it is now, this was a pretty good exercise in terms of just learning the coding. Now, like I said, there are a lot of things that they just added in for us to make this whole package work. We just focused on the C# file here. So this was all written, copied by me. No, I actually did write it, but I totally referenced the Udemy course, the 20 episodes of the Udemy course. So up here we have some of our variables. This is a string variable, which is basically text, saying you may type menu at any time. And I have used that variable in a few places here. So here's menu hint. So when I display the win screen, we change our current screen to win, just to keep track of what screen we're on. We use the terminal.clearscreen to clear any of the text that was on the previous screen. We show a level reward, which is right down here, show level reward. So first level, you'll get a burger. Our second case level, you'll get a book, and the third one, you'll get NASA. So after show level reward, we also remind the player that, hey, you can press menu at any time and go back. So that's how that function works. Function, is that the correct name? I have no idea. If you're trying to learn C#, do not listen to me, but maybe take what I'm doing and use it to motivate you. But everything I say may or may not be correct. Here we have 3 more variables, string variables, which are words. They call these arrays, I believe, and basically what it's saying is, here we have a string variable called level 1 passwords, and level 1 passwords is an array of 0 to 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the answer to the questions that I'm asking when you choose a level can be any one of these, and we have randomized it. Now the randomization is a little bit down here more, so we'll maybe get into that later. Here we assigned an integer that is called level to keep track of the levels 1, 2, and 3. Here we have a enumerator called screen, if I'm thinking correctly, and that consists of three values, 0, 1, and 2. Yes, so main menu, password, and win to indicate whether we're on the main menu, whether we're on the ask for password screen, or if we're on the win screen. Now with C#, the code gets read in a downwards direction. So after that, we are setting the screen to current screen, which I think at this point is main menu. And then we also add a new string variable called password. So this is where the game starts, void start. So we show the main menu. So that's one of our screens, main menu. This is just some extra that is nothing to do with the code, but was just a little exercise we were doing throughout the course. So when we start the game, we show the main menu. That brings us to here. So this is what happens when we run the main menu. Current screen equals screen.mainMenu, so we know that we're on main menu. We're going to clear the screen in case there's previous stuff on there. We'll just get a fresh start. And then we have essentially our welcome message. What would you like to hack into? We display our 3 levels and say choose wisely. So on user input, we're now collecting whatever the user is typing in. If the input equals menu, if we type in menu, we show the main menu, which brings us back up to here. Else if the current screen is already on the main menu, we run the main menu, which would run this. We're kind of creating a failsafe so we don't run into any strange bugs. And then again, else if. I realize I don't know if I should keep this as else if or change it to else. I might be able to change that to else, but the game works. I'm just going to leave it that for now. I'm still learning what I'm doing. So else if current screen equals screen.password. If we're on the screen.password, then we want to check for a password input. Because if we're on the password screen, we don't want to check for main menu input. Because if we're asking for a password, say Big Mac, and the player's typing in 1, it's not going to make very much sense. So the reason why we divide up the screens is so we can have like different method of control on the various screens, whether we're on the win screen, the main menu screen, or the password screen. So if current screen is screen main menu, then we run, or then I think the correct termination or the vocabulary is we call run main menu. So that's right here. Going to be a string input, which is text. Now we're dealing with booleans here. Booleans, short form bool, is essentially true or false. So bool, this is what we're calling it, is valid level number equals input would equal 1. These two lines stand for or. Input equals 2 or input equals 3. So we have 3 options to type in. Nothing will happen outside of those options. We can type in 1, 2, or 3, and we'll get something happening based on those. And if we type in anything else, aside from the inputs that we've assigned, such as menu, then nothing will happen unless we tell the program to do something. So we want to find what level we're on. Well, level equals int.parse input. Int.parse translates a string input into an integer input, and that's what we want. Because while we're typing the number 1 as a string, just as if we could type, character or words as a string, in order to get that to work with our what are we doing here? I don't know what I'm doing here. I think in order to get this to work with the Boolean true false, we can't compare strings and integers, I think, to get our true false value. So we need to change the input string. We need to change that into an integer. So to do that, we use this cool thing called int.parse. And then in here, our parameter is our input, whatever the user's inputting. So that enables us to change it to an integer. And that will compare, did the player type in 1? Yes, that is true. He typed in 1. What if we typed in 17? Did the player type in 1? No, that is false. So it's not a valid level number. So we type in 1, we get a valid level number. And we run ask for password. Now, if we look for this function, is this a function? I don't know. If we look for this thing, we made it all nice and neat, and we come down here and it asks for password. So we now change our current screen to screen.password. Again, we don't want to be on main menu because our code says we can type 1, 2, or 3, or our secret menu, or we can type main menu again. Those are our 5 options we can type in main menu. So we want to get off the main menu screen, so we're switching screens. Current screen dot equals screen.password, so we're on the password screen. We're going to clear the screen, terminal.clearscreen. Now terminal is referencing now this isn't something I coded in, this is something that the course creator coded in. I think terminal is referencing this white box here. This is our computer terminal screen, so don't get that mistaken for the actual screen. It's just our game screen here in the fake user interface terminal here. So we clear the terminal screen, set random password. So this, if you see, call random password, and that's set under here under void set random password. So switch functions are something I learned. They're similar to if statements. So if this, then do that. If you didn't do this, then else if you're going to do this, else do that. And you can create these almost infinitely as long as you want, but it gets super complicated. So there's a time and place for if statements, and there's a time and place for switch statements. I can't tell you what that time and place is, but maybe once I do this a little more, I can share that information with you. Just know that they're similar in what you can achieve. And yeah, so let's dive right into stuff I don't know about. So here we have a switch statement, level. And I think that's referencing, yes, it's referencing this variable. So, switch statement. If the level is 1, well, how would we know the level is 1? Well, we created a thing here that's saying, hey, this thing is the int.parse of our input. Well, if we input a string input, which is 1, and then we int.parse it to change that string into an integer, which is now a number value, and that's our input. So we type in 1 as a string, we get 1 as an integer, and now our level is 1. So we come down here in our switch statement, switch 1. We are level 1, then that tells us to select case 1. So our password equals the level 1 passwords, random.range, 0, level 1 passwords.length. What the hell does that mean? It means all kinds of stuff, and it took me like 1 hour to get to this point. So let me try and break it down. We have our password, and that password equals level 1 passwords. So let's check out level 1 passwords here. Now we have level 1 passwords up here. This is the array we created. So this is a string, because we're dealing with letters here. So this is our string input. So our level 1 passwords are Big Mac, Nugget, Chicken, Bacon, Coffee, and Ronald. Pardon me. And here we also have level 2 passwords and level 3 passwords. So I can easily change the passwords whenever I want. So we'll focus on level 1. So while these are string inputs, the arrays, if I can find this here, the arrays work within the brackets. It's 0 to 5, like I pointed out before. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can think of each password as a number. So if we go back down here, our password equals level 1 passwords. So we just saw the 6 variables ranging from 0 to 1. So we're creating a random range, and random range is something that the course creator set up. I imagine the random variable here is created somewhere else in the project. It's just a code that basically is just set to randomize an integer value. So I don't know how that works, but I imagine it's just simple math to randomize something. So we have a randomized range bracket of 0, which is our first one, which I think was Big Mac, comma, level 1 passwords.length. And what level 1 passwords.length does is it takes the length of our array, which if you remember up there was 0 to 5, which is 6 integers, and 6 being the max, that's our length. So from 0 to 6. I think you could just as easily write 6 here, but if we changed, if we added in 10 more things here, and now this array was 0 to 9, if we kept it like this, it would automatically readjust to 9. Otherwise, we would have to change it up here, count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then come down here and change this 6 to a 9. We're kind of creating more work for ourselves, so in a way we automated things and just made it very simple to make changes. So we have a range 0 to level 1 password length, which in our case is 6, and we just repeated it. Case 2, and it knows that that will be level 2 because switch, we entered level here in the field, and like we said before, level is being recorded as an input based on what the user types, yada yada yada. So case 1, 2, 3, and then we added the way switch statements works. You need to put these silly break things here to make it work. I don't know. And then you need to put a default statement, I think. Maybe you don't, but I've been told it's a good idea just in case when people are playing your game or you're play testing your game, you break it, something happens. So what we did was, if they managed to somehow get past all this without prompting a password to the next level, then we just add a debug.log error, invalid level number, and that will display in the, well, I don't have it set up here, but a little console window. It'll just tell me what my errors are. So moving on, where are we here? Yeah, I'm totally getting lost in my own code. Okay, so we were up here. If input equals menu, we go to the main menu. Else if current screen is already on the main menu, then we run main menu input. That's what we just went over a moment ago. Else if current screen is on-screen password, then we run check password. I'll check password here. Very simple. Excuse me. Very simple. If the input equals password, then display the win screen. Else, ask for the password. So we create a very simple loop that just tells the user to type in a password. So what is the password? Well, the password is the randomized password based on the 3 levels and the 3 cases that we created up here. So it will take care of everything for me, basically. That's just the way I coded it. So any of the 6 words that I selected up here, it will choose one of them. That will be the password. So if we get it right, we display the win screen. If we get it wrong, then we just ask for the password again. Now, when we call display win screen, we're now down here on the win screen. We're switching back to the current screen, switching back to win, screen.win, because again, we want to get off the password screen. We're no longer asking for passwords. We're not asking for anything. We're just saying, congratulations, you've won. You can type menu to go back to the menu. Current screen.screen win, switching our screen. Terminal.clearscreen, we're clearing the screen. We don't want clutter on the screen, so we'll clear whatever questions and answers we put that were on it. We're going to show level reward, which is right here, and we're also going to write terminal.writeLine. Again, terminal is just writing on the little graphic interface we have for our game. We're going to write terminal.writeLine menu hint. And you could totally type something random in there, but the reason why we did menu hint is because we've used this in a few different places. So if we scroll all the way to the top, we have a const string, which is a constant string. This is never going to change. For instance, this string will change. It could be either of these things, but constant string called menu hint is always going to be, you may type the menu at any time. So instead of like copying and pasting this or typing it every single time, we can just put this here and it will say you can type menu at any time automatically. Very simple. And if you name things properly, it's very easy to read if you know your own code, which I don't really know my own code. I'm trying my best here, guys. It's nice to go over it like this and kind of pretend that I'm telling someone what I'm doing, whether people watch this video or not. But yeah. So what do we got here? Are we really at 22 minutes? That's just wacky. So we have a level reward, show level reward. This is another switch statement, also based on our levels. So our level 1, our case 1, will say, have a Big Mac. No reason in particular, just food themed, went with it. Got some ASCII art of a Big Mac. It's kind of looks like a Big Mac, but personally I wouldn't want to eat this. Also a little bit of positive messages here. You are what you eat. As a reminder, if you're going to eat garbage, you're probably going to feel like garbage. That's the truth of the matter. Level 2, have a book. Library themed, we got a book. Play again to test your skills, library knowledge. Hey, play again, test your skills. Thought that'd fit in there. NASA, we kind of just threw in a bunch of random stuff here. We are not alone. And then we have the NASA logo, and then welcome to NASA's internal system. So this kind of hacking game could really go any way. Right now it's just a very simple little game, but like I said, you could add some graphics to it, maybe some scrolling backgrounds, maybe a storyline, maybe an overworld map selection screen, while keeping it as a basic text game, but just add a little bit more depth to it. So this is basically what I got here. I think we went over everything. I learned a lot. If I had to write this by myself, I definitely couldn't do it. I'm not fluent enough in C# to do this kind of thing by myself. But it was very fun game indeed. Cop leads. I have no idea what that is. I'm bad at these, especially when I'm on the spot trying to record a video too. So that's telescope apparently. I wouldn't have got that, jeez. So that's my game. If y'all have any questions regarding the Udemy courses or how I'm finding Unity, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to talk about game development and stuff like that to people. It's been very fun learning this. Unity is wonderful. You can do a lot of just crazy things with Unity. Video games. You can even make little videos. You don't even have to make a video game. I really like the idea of making like a kind of like a point and click story based video game. Nothing too crazy, and I'm not even really into point and click games. I think I'm just being pulled in that direction because it's a very simple game to make and it doesn't require tons of systems, physics, coding, blah blah blah, because realistically I'm not that good at making video games, so I'm trying to stay within my means and just kind of work my way up. But this was a very, very fun exercise and introduction into C#. If we take a little sneak peek at the Udemy courses here. Okay, so this one, I haven't quite finished this section, but I think this is just kind of wrapping up the game. So Project Boost will be the second course I take, and I think that deals with like a two-dimensional physics-based like rocket ship that you launch kind of into the air, and you have to like navigate obstacles. Argon Assault is kind of like Star Fox. It's an on-rail shooter, so I'm really looking forward to that one. That's gonna be sweet. Realm Rush is, if I recall correctly, kind of like a Plants vs. Zombies tower defense game, so that's going to be sweet. And Zombie Runner, first-person shooter. I haven't really looked much into that, but I imagine it is a zombie first-person shooter game, so that's going to be cool. And once I do all these, I look forward to taking what I know and kind of revisiting these first, second, and third, fourth projects and trying to like flesh them out and really make them my own. In due time, I will be uploading all my game files online, and you can just go to the URL, spend like a few seconds just downloading the files. They'll be super small, and you'll be able to play them right in your browser. So when I get that up for you guys, I'll definitely let you know. In the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope everyone has a great holidays, and I'll see you guys later.